Hello, champions. Are you ready for today's class? Are you ready? Because today's class promises to be fun and interesting. You are welcome. So, today we'll be looking at two very interesting topics, and they are listen for the sounds and the earth is always moving. Can I hear you say them? Listen for the sounds and the earth is always moving. So we'll be starting with the first one, which is listen for the sounds. Can I hear you say it? Listen for the sounds. So there's an important organ we'll be looking at which helps us to listen for the sounds, and it is called the ear. The ear is an organ for hearing. Remember, we have different sense organs. We have the eyes, we have the nose, we have the tongue, we have the skin, and now we have the ear. Now, the ear helps us to hear, and the ear is also used to listen for the sounds. We all have two ears. Can you touch your ear? Yes. So let's move on. There are different parts of the ear, but for our level, we'll be looking at just two parts. What did I say? We have different parts of the ear, but for our level, for the level we are in now, we'll be looking and discussing about just two parts. And what are they? The outer ear and the inner ear. So let's talk about the outer ear. The outer ear is the part that is visible to your eyes. Now, can you take a look at your friend's ear? Good. Now, the part you can see is called what? Outer ear. When you look at your friends in class ears, the part you can see with your eyes is the outer ear. But the part which is not visible to the eyes, the part which you cannot see with your eyes, is known as the inner ear. So you cannot see the inner ears with your eyes. Now let's move further. When the top of a drum is struck by a stick, it vibrates. Wow. So when you hit the top of a drum or any other object, what happens is that it vibrates. The next thing is that as the drum vibrates, air moves around it. So we can see a first picture of the drum being struck. Then the one on top, the next one, we can see the vibration is showing. And the next one, we can see the air that moves around it. Let's move further. So in the course of this teaching, we'll be using vibration and sound. We'll be using them together. So it's good for us to know what sound is and what vibration is. So before I tell you what vibration is, I'll be telling you what sound is. Sound is something that can be heard. What did I say? Sound is something that can be heard. It is made when an object vibrates. So what you hear when an object vibrates is sound. So anything you hear is what? Sound. It is as a result of when an object vibrates. So let's know what vibration is. Vibration is a quick movement back and forth. You can see the ruler on the table. You can see the arrows to indicate the vibration the ruler has made. This happens when there is a quick movement, a very quick and fast movement, back and forth. Let's progress. So, how do you hear these sound vibrations? You know what sound is. Now you know what vibration is. So, bringing the two words together, they are known as sound vibrations. So, how do you hear these sound vibrations? Let's move on. You are able to hear these sound vibrations when your outer ear catches or picks this sound. Wow. So, here is what happens. When a sound is being made, your outer ear, remember I told you Your outer ear is the part that is visible to your eyes. So the parts of the ear you can see is known as your what? Outer ear. So when any sound is made, your outer ear catches or picks this sound. Now, for example, this picture displayed in front of us, the girl in the picture is talking, and the person she's talking to, the person's outer ear catches or picks these sound vibrations. Then let's know what happens next. Then they are carried, those sound vibrations that were picked by the outer ear are then carried through the inner ear like a vehicle. They are carried through the inner ear to the brain. What happens when it gets to the brain? Stay with me. The brain interprets the sound and tells you the type of sound you are hearing. It does not just tell you the kind of sound you are hearing, it also tells you where the sound is coming from. So, for example, the way you are seated, you hear, "Help me, help me, help me." That is a sound that is being made. Your outer ear picks the sound and it is then carried through where? Your inner ear. To where? To the brain. Then the brain does what? It interprets the sound. By interpretation, what do I mean? By interpretation, what do I mean? I mean, it tells you the type of sound you are hearing and where the sound is coming from. So your brain will tell you, this sound is coming from your sister. And also, your brain tells you, the person shouting "help me" is in danger. And so it activates your body for action. Very good. So it activates your body for action. So now you know that this person is in danger and the person needs my help. Let's move further. Now, sound can travel or move through different ways. What I mean by this is sound can be carried to us through different ways, and there are solid, liquid, and gas. Can you repeat after me? Solid, liquid, and gas. So sound can travel through solid, sound can travel through liquid, and sound can travel through gas. Now we're looking at examples of liquid, gas, and solid that sound can travel through. And an example of liquid is water. So if you are bathing or you are in a swimming pool, if anybody tells you anything, you are able to hear it because sound can travel through water, and water is an example of what? Liquid, and sound can travel through gas. So when a clap is being made, the sound of the clap travels through the air to our ears. So when I stand in front of your class to teach you, you are able to hear me because what I say, the sounds I make, they travel through the air to your ears. And sound travels through the air in different directions. So that's why, irrespective of wherever you are sitting in class, guess what happens? You can hear me. Do you know why? Because sound travels through the air in different directions. And the third one we're looking at is solid. Solid, an example is the ground we walk on. For example, can you hear that sound? Yes, that's someone walking. So, an example of solid is the ground we walk on. When people run on staircase, for example, when people are running on the staircase, you are able to hear them running on the staircase. Or when some persons walk, you are able to hear them because sound can travel through solid. If I tell you shuffle your feet on the floor, for example, like this. When I mean shuffle your feet, I mean slowly dragging your feet on the floor, just like this. Did you hear any sound? Very good. This is made possible because sound travels through the ground we walk on, and the ground we walk on is solid. Anything that is hard is solid. Now let's move on. Let's talk about sound better. So sound can be pleasant and unpleasant. Yes, Sound can be pleasing to your ears or it can be unpleasing to your ears. So we'll be looking at examples of sound that can be pleasant to your ears. Now look at this picture in front of you. You can see the expression on the girl's face because she's listening to a pleasant sound, which is music, while the boy is laughing. Music and laughter are pleasant sound. These sounds are pleasing to our ears. They make us happy and joyful, and they cause no harm to us. But some sound can be unpleasant, and they are known as noise. Noise is an unpleasant sound. As much as possible, we must try to stay away from noise. An example of noise is a baby crying. Have you heard a baby cry before? It can be so loud and disturbing. So, a baby crying is an example of unpleasant sound. Another is a plane taking off and landing. If you have ever stayed close to an airplane in an airport, or if you have ever visited an airport, you will know that the sound made while a plane is taking off or landing is very disturbing. And as such, it is unpleasant to our ears. So another is a dog barking. Now when you hear a dog barking continuously, it is very disturbing and unpleasing to us. It can make us so uncomfortable. Same as a person screaming. Some persons love to scream all the time, and you being exposed to this kind of sound continuously makes you stand the risk of having a damaged ear. This is why in class we always talk against making noise or screaming, because the more you get exposed to sounds like this, you are getting your ears damaged. There are some persons that their outer ear cannot pick sound, neither can this sound pass through their inner ears to their brain. Do you know why? Because their ears are damaged, and they can also be known as deaf people. So when your ears are damaged, your outer ear will not be able to pick sound, neither will your inner ear be able to pass this sound to your brain. And your brain, because it does not have anything passed to it, it cannot interpret anything. And so these persons are called what? Deaf people. So if you don't want a damaged ear, what do? You have to stay away from a noisy environment. So let's talk about echo. What did I say? Echo. So sounds can bounce off objects. Yes. And when it happens, it is called an echo. It is called an echo. Very good. Can you get an empty container in your house? Talk into the container. What do you hear? Very good. You can hear repeated sounds. Now, these repeated sounds you heard are known as what? Echo. Echo happens when sound bounces off object. So when a sound hits an object and it bounces back to you, it is an echo. Normally, sound is supposed to pass through solid, liquid, and gas to people. But if there is nobody for this sound to pass through, what happens? The sound comes back to you. It comes back to you in repeated form, in repeated sound. So when it comes back to you like that, it is known as what? An echo. So if I'm in a closed classroom, the windows are shut, the door is shut, and I'm the only one there. Normally, I'm supposed to be talking to people, but because there's nobody there, I'm just the only one, and everywhere is locked. Guess what happens next? When I say a word, the word hits the object. For example, the object here will not be the wall, and it bounces back to me in repeated form. So this is known as echo. So now, what happens when you are in a noisy environment? How do you protect your ear from noisy environment? Because I told you, if you keep getting exposed to a noisy environment, you stand the risk of having what? A damaged ear. So how do we protect our ears from getting damaged, especially in a noisy environment? The first thing you need to do is to leave the noisy environment. If you are in a place where the noise is too much, where the sound is becoming unpleasing to you, what you need to do is to leave the environment. If you cannot leave the environment, the next thing you need to do is to get a finger from your right hand and a finger from your left hand and place it in your ear. So just the way the boy in this picture did. By so doing, guess what you have done? You have blocked the entrance to your inner ear. So even if your outer ear is able to pick sound, it cannot be passed to your inner ear. It's just like when you shut your door. So when you shut the door, nobody can come in. So that's what you have done. You have just shut the entrance to your inner ear. And by doing so, sound cannot pass through to sound cannot pass through to your inner ear, neither can your inner ear carry this sound to your brain. So next time you are in a noisy environment and the noise is getting so unpleasant, what do you need to do? Close your ears with your fingers. Beautiful. I know you enjoyed this class. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the topic on listening for sounds. Now we'll be going to the next topic, which is the earth is always moving. Can I hear you say that? The earth is always moving. Do you know the earth is never still? It's always moving, but we don't feel it's moving. All we feel and see are the results of its movement. The earth moves always and it is never still. The earth is always moving in two ways. How many ways? Two ways. They are: one, the earth rotates or spins around, and two, the earth orbits or travels around the sun. So when asked how many ways does the earth move, what will you say? Two. Beautiful. The first rotation the Earth makes is the Earth rotates or spins around. That is, the Earth rotates or moves around itself. This is what causes day and night. One rotation of the Earth takes about 24 hours or one day. As the Earth spins, the sun shines on it, but sunlight shines on only the side of the Earth facing the sun. That side has day, so the part that faces the sun has day. The other side is dark, that has night. So the other part not facing the sun is dark and that side has night. So as the earth rotates, we move from day to night over and over again. So the second rotation is the earth orbits or travels around the sun. The trip takes 365 days or 366 days, which is equivalent to 1 year. As the earth moves around the sun, the seasons change. You can see from summer to autumn to winter and to spring. And it is the tilt of the earth, which is the movement or the shifting of the earth, that causes these different season changes. So different parts of the earth get more or less sunlight at different times. So an area gets more sunlight, and when an area gets more sunlight, that is summer, and the area with less sunlight is winter. Thank you for watching. I know you enjoyed the topic. Do not forget to attempt your quiz and assignments. See you in class. Bye.